give it a shot and then I'll go over it with you. Maybe. Alright, I'll do it. So you want to get it in standard form to get 0 on one side, so I'll move the 12x rather than all this stuff because I want a positive coefficient. So I get x squared plus 12x plus 36 equals 0. So then I see that a is equal to 1, b is equal to 12, and c is equal to 36. So then you come over here and plug it in. Just plug and chug and see what happens. So you get x is equal to negative 10, 12, plus or minus the square root of 12 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So then you get that x is equal to negative 12 plus or minus the square root of 144. That's what 12 squared is, and 4 times 36 is also 144. And this is all over 2. Notice 144 minus 144 is 0, so it goes away. Then we get negative 12 plus or minus 0 all over 2, right? So now we could split up the LCD if we want. So we get negative 12 over 2 plus or minus 0 over 2. So then we get x is equal to negative 12 over 2 plus or minus 0 divided by 2 is 0. So all this stuff goes away. And we're just left with this. And we get that x is equal to negative 6. So notice we only got one solution this time. So that means that if we wanted to do this example prior and did the discriminant, we would have saw that d equals 0, which we saw here. So we only get one solution. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So let's just jump right into it. We've seen the case where we got two solutions. We saw the case where we had one solution. So this is probably going to be imaginary. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So let's go ahead and do it. So we got a is equal to 3, b is equal to 4, and c is equal to 5. Plug that into this crazy thing. X is equal to negative b was 4, plus or minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4a, or c was what? 5? And this is all over 2 times a, which was 3. So then we come over here and we get negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus, this is like 12 times 5 is 60. All over 6, get negative 4 plus or minus the square root. So you got 16 minus a 60, that's a negative 44. Notice I said negative, and it's under the radical. So what could that mean? So we got negative 4 plus or minus, well, first of all, we have to rewrite that as 4 times 11, negative 4 times 11, okay? And that's over 6. So what's going to come out is the negative 4. It's going to come out of the 2i, because, then you get negative 4 plus or minus 2i, rad 11, over 6. Now we're going to split up the LCD. The reason it came out as an I is because when you have a negative under the radical, it comes out as an I. I didn't mean it, just. So then you get negative 4 over 6 plus or minus 2I rad 11 over 6. So here we go. You got x is equal to, because we're just, our focus is on this now, right? So negative 4/6 is negative 2/3. So we got negative 2/3 plus something, and we got negative 2/3 minus something. And then notice that the 2 and the 6, you just get a 3 on the bottom. So you get rad 11I over 3, and then you get rad 11I over 3. Okay, so that was the imaginary case, and they do have the same LCD, so we could write it as a single fraction, which is probably what the professors would like. So let me just go ahead and do that. So our final answer would be x is equal to negative 2 plus rad 11I over the LCD, which was 3. And then the other answer was the same thing, but with a minus, right? So negative 2 minus rad 11I over 3. So this is a better way, I guess. If you can go further, this would be it. Go ahead and give it a shot, and I'll go over it with you. Just notice that there's no 3 terms here, so the b is missing, so b is 0. Okay, so a equals 1, b equals 0 because it's missing, and c is equal to 25. And let's see what happens. So we get x is equal to negative b, which is 0, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 0 squared minus 4. Our a was 1, and our c was 25. This is all over 2 times a, and our a was 1. So then you get x is equal to 0, it goes away, plus or minus the square root of 0 goes away again, the negative remains. 4 times 25, if you have 4 quarters, you have $1, I don't know, 100. I just think in a weird way. Alright, so then that's over 2. This is equal to plus or minus the square, that negative comes out as an I, and the square root of 100 is 10. And it's over 2. And this and that. Okay, so 10 goes into 2 5 times, so you get plus or minus 5i. Then you get x is equal to 5i, and x is equal to negative 5i. Okay, so when we look at our answers, usually we're like, could we have factored that, or what could we have done, and looking at the discriminant or whatnot. But looking at this, the easiest way to went about doing this is to go about the square root property, or the extraction of roots, because we could isolate the squared quantity or variable in this case. And so if you haven't seen that, I did a video on that, on the square root property, so you can check that out. So this doesn't even look quadratic in the first place. We're trying to use the quadratic formula. So why don't we distribute this negative x into this parenthesis and see what happens. So let's pop that in there. So we get a 5x minus a 2x squared equals a 7. So now we got a second degree. It's looking quadratic. Cool. I don't really want my leading term, the coefficient on my leading term, to be negative. So why don't we just move all this stuff to that side? Add the 2x over. So you get a 2x squared minus the 5x over, and the 7 was already there. Okay, so this is looking nice. So my a is equal to 2, my b is equal to negative 5, and my c is equal to 7. Let's pop it in here. into the quadratic formula. So we get x is equal to negative, my b was negative 5, plus or minus the square root of, my b was negative 5, I'm going to square that, minus 4, my a was 2, and my c was 7, and this is all over 2 times my a, which was 2. Okay, so now 2 negatives make a positive. That's 25. That's a negative. So then here you get 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 7 is 56. And this is all over 4. So then you get that x is equal to 5 plus or minus the square root of, that looks like 31 or something ugly, like negative 31. It's ugly. So then that's all over 4. Alright, so you know with the negative deal, right? I's come out for imaginaries, because you can't have negatives under the radical. And you know, if you did the discriminant on this and got that d was less than 0, you would have saw that earlier. Alright, so you got x is equal to 5 plus, there's the rad 31, because there's nothing you could do with that, but that negative comes out as an I. This is all over 4. Then you get that x is equal to 5, but minus now the square root of 31 I all over 4. So these two were the solutions. Okay, so it's come to that time of day where it's the last problem of the day. So why don't you go ahead and give it a try, and then I'll go over it with you. Okay, so again, this doesn't even look quadratic. It's not even in our mindset that we're looking for. We want it to be quadratic, second degree, so let's pop this negative 3x in there. So then we get like a negative 3x squared, 2 negatives positive, 6x equals 5. Now I want to get it in standard form, but I like my leading term to have a positive coefficient. So let's move all this to that side. So you add the 3x over, you add the negative 3x squared over, you subtract the 6x over, and the 5 was already here, so we can't kick them out. Now we just seek out what our a, b, and c are. So a is equal to 3, b is equal to negative 6, and c is equal to 5. Plugging it into here, we get that x is equal to negative. My b was negative, so be careful with that. Plus or minus the square root of my b squared minus 4, my a was 3, and my c was 5. And this is all over 2 times my a, which was 3. Okay, so now we just simplify. So we get x is equal to 2 negatives positive plus or minus the square root of, that's a 36, that's a negative, let's see here, that's a 12 times 5 is a 60, that's all over a 6, so then you get x is equal to 6 plus or minus 6 square root of, well, I would need 4 to get to 40 and 20, so negative 24. So you get negative 24. Alright. That negative has to come out as an I, and that 24 is trying to sneak someone in, like a 4. 4 times 6. So we're going to take that 4 out. Square root of negative 4 6 all over 6. Alright, that negative 4 is going to come out as a 2i. So then we get that x is equal to 6 plus or minus 2i square root of 6 all over 6. And this is the case where this denominator number goes into that number and the 2. We're going to split it up and get that x is equal to 6 over 6 plus or minus 2i square root of 6 over 6. So then we get that x is equal to, this will be a 1 plus or minus, that'll be a 3. So we get the square root of 6i over 3. I guess that looks better. So thank you. That was it for the quadratic formula. I'm sure you'll never forget that formula. So I'll see you next time.